Welcome. Thanks for joining us today on our webinar as we look at technology moving into the future as it relates to predictive maintenance programs. When we talk about innovation and history, I'm a firm believer in order to look forward into the future from a technology standpoint, you have to understand the history of your company, whether it's 5 years or 30 years as it is with Acoem, and understand the foundation that you've built your products off of so that you can continue that lineage or that technology advancement. When you look at Acoem and the 30 plus years, we actually are built off of two different foundations, OneProd and fixture laser, both with 35 years of technology experience in the manufacturing world. OneProd, on the vibration side of the business, started in 1973 when it started the bearing defect factor. We believe data is only good if it's actually actionable data. See, collecting data and storing it and not being able to do anything with it is of no help to you, your team, or us, or anybody for that matter. So what we've been providing is smart actionable data to the end user since 1973 when we created the defect factor algorithm programmed in the MV03. In 1984, on the fixture laser side, they produced something that's called the laser shaft. That was one of the first laser alignment tools. From there, it continued to grow from a technology standpoint to where they are today as one of the leaders on laser alignments. In 1988, OneProd launched their first data collector and balancing with a digital signal processor. Taking a look at that on the screen, I'm sure you'll look at it and say, it doesn't even look like a real credit card machine anymore. But I can assure you in 1988, it was actually cutting edge technology at the time. In 1996, brought us a giant leap forward from a technology standpoint. Fixture laser shaft platform was created. The most important leap forward to mention was the fact that it was a touch screen. And put that in some perspective, that was 11 years before the first iPhone was released to the marketplace. Needless to say, it was way ahead of its time, not just for our company, but for the industry as a whole. I like to say it'll go down in Alignment Tool Hall of Fame. Matter of fact, if you actually go to Acoem AB or Fixture Laser in Sweden, what you'll see when you walk in through the front doors is all the tools that they've ever manufactured lines both sides. I believe the fixture laser shaft platform actually stands above most of the tools that have been created for the technology and how far ahead it was. In 2006, pretty big year for Acoem as a whole on both the OneProd and the fixture laser side. On the OneProd side, we launched the MVP, or Monitoring Vibration Portable. It was the first all-in-one device with 2 channels, built-in pyrometer, and a built-in laser tag. More importantly, it was the start of the color screen for OneProd. On the fixture laser side, we launched the Fixture Laser XA, which had wireless communication and a display box with a color touchscreen. The user interface pushed the limits on what was even possible at the time with real-time flash animations and a handheld unit. The technology was a huge step forward for us and the industry. Fast forward a little bit to 2013, and we finally come to the Falcon, which you all know when it launched, it was the first wireless patented sensor, automatic diagnosis with confidence level, large touchscreen, truly the pinnacle of our product line for handheld vibration products. On the fixture laser side in 2014, we introduced the NXA. The NXA changed the standards of what alignment tools are today. The graphics were more game-like, and we introduced the gyroscope in the display, which allowed the screen to rotate depending on which side of the machine you were on. That same gyroscope technology was added to the laser heads. So now you can use the tri-point technology when performing a vertical alignment. That brings us to 2020. And what does all this mean to you, the history of both OneProd and fixture laser and the 30 plus years each one has in developing technology and alignment and vibration? We've now combined it to one tool.
Sunrise to sunset. Not a day goes by where work doesn't need to be done. You're not just a millwright. a maintenance tech, a reliability engineer, a plant manager. You're
It's your turn.
a problem fixer,
It's right there.
a machine doctor, a future predictor. Every day presents new challenges. When the work order goes out or it comes in, it's a dive into the unknown. That is why we're here. Let's befriend uncertainty. Align the unalignable. Make teams more reliable. And the plant more interconnected. After all, you are the people who keep this place running. Sunset to sunrise. Acoem presents a new generation of predictive maintenance. RT300.
There it is, the new Acoem product, the first one of its kind. Best of both worlds, the RT300. The RT300 is composed of the Acoem ecosystem of apps, connected accessories, and a cloud platform. All apps will be available on any mobile device or tablet to help maintenance staffs achieve their value-added jobs more easily and more efficiently in the field. All apps are connected by the Acoem cloud to benefit the additional services. When looking at the RT300, you have 5 main applications: the Bearing Defender, the Machine Defender, the Pre-Alignment app, and then your horizontal and vertical apps. So let's take a quick look at the Machine Defender. The Machine Defender is augmented by the patented Acoem AccuRx technology. With over 30 years of experience in the vibration analysis business, the Machine Defender delivers an instant machine health assessment with fault details and a confidence indicator without having prior history or trends. All of this done while you're in the field, right in front of the machine, not having to go back to the office to look at a spectrum or other data. When we move into the alignment apps, you'll notice that there are 3 main components: pre-alignment, horizontal, and vertical applications. When looking at the pre-alignment app, you'll have to use it with the unique runout probe that's contained in the RT300 package. On the horizontal and vertical side, you'll use the digital alignment sensors, which you've all come to know through the Fixture Laser brand and the GuideU technology. All of this is connected to the Acoem dashboard or cloud. The pre-alignment app consists of 4 main checks: runout, bearing clearance or lift check, true soft foot, and sensor display max min. All comes with the ability to export a compound PDF reporting. As it relates to the vertical and horizontal alignment applications, you'll receive all new hardware and software which has been designed specifically for the shaft alignment applications. New Acoem M7S7 TD paired heads, new upgraded electronics, more powerful processor, and the latest future-proof Bluetooth module, which is very important because technology continues to change in that space as it relates to mobile phones or tablets, and the Bluetooth technology can cause something not to work as it relates to applications if they're not ready for it. Ours is. And lastly, how is all this connected? I've used that word a few times throughout the presentation so far, so let's take a quick look. With the cloud, you will have access to all of your assets that you're monitoring, and the activity in which you're monitoring at any time from anywhere. Diagnostic summaries, vibration status, alignment and maintenance statuses, access to the last reports, and trending capabilities for better decision making when you're looking at different insights. That's a quick overview of the whole entire component, or all the components within the RT300, but let's see how it actually works in real life. I'm going to kick it over to Steve here in a second, who'll be performing a machine diagnosis with the Machine Defender. I'll see you back in a few minutes so we can do a Q&A session. So take a few minutes as we're going through this process. Send us an email with any questions you may have, whether it's about this process or something else, and we'll try to get to it at the end. Don't worry if we don't get to your questions. We'll send an email out tomorrow with a more full answer and response to everybody. Really appreciate you taking some time with us today, and we'll go through a few minutes of the process. Steve?
Thanks, Bobby. It's my pleasure to get us started on a simulation here of the innovative RT300 processes. And that simulation will start with the Machine Defender. The Machine Defender app is a way that we can get a quick diagnosis of machine condition and health. If I touch on my Machine Defender app, the first thing that Machine Defender asks is a few questions about the type of machine that we're dealing with in order to get things started with the template-based setups. It's very simple. All I need to know is horsepower. This is a 1 horsepower machine. RPM, this is a 1765 RPM machine. And the foundation type, whether it's a rigid or a flexible mount like an isolation springs or something similar. Next question is there a transmission? What is the transmission type? In this case, my transmission is a coupling, so there is no transmission. But there are transmission types available, such as belt drives and single and multiple stage gearboxes. So just hit the checkbox, and then again, template-based selection. What type of machine is my driven machine? I have an electric motor driving. Of course, we'll have to use imagination here. This is a simulator, but we're going to suppose that this is a pump. So select a pump. Check. Now, as I go through this, of course, I can give the machine a name according to its asset number or the type of machine it is. And once I do that, I'm going to take a series of measurements, one at each bearing location. And so what I've got to do is walk through selecting the measurement location, again, each bearing location, and then the orientation of the sensor. Need to check the orientation of the sensor because the sensor is, again, the patented wireless sensor that measures 3 axes of vibration at one time. So now I'll turn on my simulation device and wait just 1 moment while it turns up to speed. Again, here we're going to select the measurement location and the measurement orientation using the pictogram or icons on the screen. Take a measurement. Each measurement takes about 10 to 15 seconds to acquire, and then I can move to the next location. I'm starting here at the non-drive end of the motor. Now I'll go to the drive end of the motor. Again, select the location, orientation, and measure. I need to run through this measurement again at each bearing location. So altogether, the whole process will take just a few minutes, and then we'll have not just a set of data, but an actual diagnosis of any potential problems here in this machine. Once again, location, orientation, based on the pictogram, sample the data, collect the data. Moving on to my 4th and final test location. I select my location, orientation, and collect the data. Now, once again, here at the end of this simulation demonstration, we will have not just a set of data on this machine, but an actual diagnosis based on the Accurex artificial intelligence. Okay, so once my data is collected, I just touch on the diagnosis icon, which is a picture of the machine health. And sorry, let me turn off my simulator and make it a little easier to hear me. So I've gone to the diagnosis, and now I have some real actionable information. So once again, the next step is going to be the connectedness, and how we take information we've gotten from the Machine Defender app, which indicates that we have some potential problems going on here in this machine, and we're going to communicate that information to the right people so that we can take maintenance actions and then re-diagnose it later and figure out if what we've done has had the corrective consequences that we wanted. So here we go. A typical report would be a PDF. A PDF report can be saved, then it can be emailed or used in some traditional way that PDF reports have usually been used. Or I can go out, go into my machine file, and push this report or this diagnosis up to our cloud application. Now in this case, that's what I'm going to do. And that's going to send the information over to my manager, Mark, who can take the process from here and finish the rest of the simulation. So that's the Machine Defender app. On to Mark. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. What I'm about to show you is the RT300 Dashboard and talk about the connectivity that we get from the field and the communication back to the field. So Steve just talked about going out and taking a vibration measurement off of a machine. The next step to that process is to receive it and turn it into an action. What we're going to do is we're going to take that, we're going to take it through the work order process. I'm going to talk a little bit about the RT300 Dashboard, and then I'm going to send an instruction back or a work order back to Stan to do an alignment. So let's first start off with this screen that you're looking at. This is the inbox screen. So this is information that comes back from the field from Steve and Stan. I'll take that information, I'll move it into my plant facility as I've done with the sauna pump, and then I'll transmit it back. We'll talk about that a little bit later. First, I want to talk about easy view. As a manager, the thing that you want to know about is what is the health of the equipment that's important to you, and where are you with executing the activities that you've assigned to your technical staff. Without bringing them together, I can assess the health of the equipment as well as the activity. So I don't need to actually talk to Stan and Steve in a face-to-face meeting. I'm communicating through the RT300 platform. The next piece is to easily be able to see by work order what the status is on that individual work order. So I can see some that are closed, some that are open, some that are in process, and so forth. Also have the opportunity to see what the condition of the various assets are, whether they're in good condition, bad condition, or in critical condition. Further, I can then, as I said with the inbox earlier, receive more information. But let's go back for a minute and we'll talk about our sauna pump, which is in critical condition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a work order at this point. And since I've got a pretty good idea what's going on with it, because it's our sauna pump, typo, no spell check, give a little bit of additional description here. I'm going to give it a due date for when I want that work done. And we're going to be fairly aggressive. We're not going to give Stan much time here. I'm going to want to send him an email message that something needs to be acted on. I've got two different types of activity. He can do an alignment or a vibration check. I'm going to ask him to do an alignment check, and I'm going to assign it to him. Select the additional box, and we're going to save that work order. At that point, the work order has been transmitted to Stan for receipt, and now he can take and put it in his own day plan and execute the work. Over to you, Stan.
Thanks, Mark. So, you've seen the process so far. It's pretty straightforward. Mark has sent me a report that says I need to perform a shaft alignment check on this machine. And I'm going to do that. And while I'm setting up, let's go through a couple of things. You've heard the term actionable items a couple of times already so far. So what does that really mean? When it gets back down to the shop floor, simply this. Guys want to know this. What's wrong with my machine? How bad is it? What have I got to do to fix it? So the cool thing about using the Accurex for the analysis portion and using the artificial intelligence and the cloud-based software is all these things work together seamlessly. So instead of going to a bunch of meetings and sitting around and wasting a lot of time talking about this and that and 100-page reports and all these things that come out, we can quickly just go to work on this machine, fix it, and get it back to doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I want to go ahead and mount my laser. We'll go through this process. As I'm doing this, I want to tell you something about the pre-alignment steps. You've heard that term mentioned a time or two already. The application in the RT300 for pre-alignment steps is really, really cool. And I'd like for you to see it as I'm getting set up. If we look into the pre-alignment steps, there's a lot of functions here using this runout probe. We can do a lift check. So if the bearings were shot in our pump and we weren't sure about it, we can do a lift check, see if we actually have movement in the shaft. We could check for soft foot. We could check for thrust if we had a thrust bearing. It is an electronic dial indicator, and it'll do pretty much everything a standard mechanical dial indicator will do with the addition of this. We can store this data here. So in our case, we're going to say we've already done our pre-alignment steps just for the sake of time. We're going to go right into taking a shaft alignment. And if you notice from the icons, it looks similar to our other shaft alignment tools. Pretty straightforward and easy to use. So we'll go ahead and quickly put in our dimensions, and I've already pre-measured this, so I know about what all the dimensions are. We'll punch those in quickly, and we'll take 3 measurements. And they're very simple. We don't have to go with clock positions. We just need 3 measurements far enough apart to get some good data. So we're going to put in our RPM. In this case, it's an 1800 RPM machine. So that's all our dimensions, and we are ready to measure from here. So again, I'll rotate over. I don't have to be so particular about clock positions. I just need to get measurements. So I'll take the first one. Wow. I'll take the first one. Then I will rotate. Again, don't have to go with clock positions, just 3 measurements. I'll take my second one. And I will take one more to get my third measurement. And from this, I have a good feeling that we're going to see a misaligned machine. So we could go in from here, I could save it the way I found it, which was misaligned. I could correct it, do all the shims and the movements I need, save it as it's finished. It all goes back to the same cloud-based data so that Mark as a manager has a copy of it, Steve as the reliability guy has a copy, and I have access to it too. So it's simple for everybody. And so that's the RT300 in a nutshell. And so now back to you, Bobby.
Thanks, Stan. Really
thing.
appreciate it. Stan, our resident expert as it relates to maintenance and anything that has to do with our industry. So we have a few questions from some people that have been watching the webinar, really from around the world. Actually, one from India and another from Germany. So real quick, and we'll go through these. Is pre-alignment really that important?
Yes, it is the most important part of the alignment, quite honestly. If you don't do the pre-alignment right, you're just going to struggle with the rest. So please don't skip the pre-alignment steps. They're critical.
Okay. How often can I check the health of my machines with the RT300?
I mean, really every day if you wanted to, but you know, the RT300 works great as you can set up a predetermined schedule, so you could do it quarterly. A lot of people do it quarterly. You could do it monthly. If it was critical asset or you thought it might have a problem, you want to check it weekly, and you can set those settings, or you can override it and just take it whenever you want to. So really, whatever you choose to do works fine.
Okay. I carry a vibe pen for quick overall vibration numbers. Can the RT300 provide me with the same type of information?
Yes, plus a lot more. You know, you can use it with the bearing defender application. If you need to check a bunch of bearings in a hurry, or maybe you just walk into a room and want to do a quick check on the 6 pumps that are running, or you can do a more detailed analysis if you like. So you can use it either way you like, but it's really like a little vibe pen on steroids. It just has a lot more applications.
Perfect. And this is actually a good transition to this last question I think we have time for. Would somebody need vibration training if they're going to use the RT300 product?
No. You need a little basic product training, just how the system works, how to set it up, applications and so on. You know, just like any new tool would be. But as far as having, you know, going to level 1 school, level 2 school and all those things, and having several years of experience, not required at all. Since all the diagnostics are inside the device, really the brains of it are there from a vibration analysis standpoint. So it's a great point and shoot tool for any mechanic to use.
Great. Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it. And to everyone out there, we really appreciate you joining us for about 20 minutes or so. Continue to send in your emails if you have any specific questions. Like I said, we're going to get an email out tomorrow to everyone in attendance with some answers to those that we weren't able to get to. Outside of that, if you want to speak to somebody in person, we have well over 100 subsidiaries and distributors around the world. Just get in contact with the person that's in charge of your specific territory or country. Outside of that, we really appreciate you joining us. I hope you have a great 2020.
Thanks.